Hi, and welcome to Survivor Sessions, where we explored topics around surviving a brain tumor or caring for a survivor. And today, we are talking with my friend Crystal Carnahan. Crystal is a certified life coach whose passion is to give women a choice and a voice for themselves and their needs, and kind of taking them on a journey to self discovery and actually making themselves number one while getting to know who they are and what brings them joy. And also, kind of the redefining of thoughts surrounding the why we think we can't have or do or want all the things. So I asked Crystal to join us today, and this focus is specifically for women who are caregivers, whether you're caring for a child or a spouse or a loved one that survived a brain tumor, like myself. And just kind of read it. We're going to discuss redefining thoughts and reconnecting with ourselves, and maybe the deeper meaning in self care, which I think has been something that's still important, but maybe getting deeper into what that really means. So, welcome, Crystal, who
Thank
comes to us from
you.
sunny Florida. And just wanted to start by having you share with us your story and what brought you to working in this capacity.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Amy. I do appreciate this opportunity. And what brought me to this place was the bar stool and the bottle. I was a bartender. Well, after I graduated college, my mom, told me to get a job because I now had a degree. And I didn't know if I wanted to go, right into the quote unquote 9 to 5 or kind of what I wanted. And I ended up in the restaurant business, which is an incredible industry. The hospitality industry can be, um, it can be fast paced. You can, travel, you can do it anywhere. And yet it is a lifestyle as well. And so throughout the years, I believe I bartended for about 20 years, and finally at the end of it, I was getting so disconnected with like finding what did I really want to do, and what was the purpose of my life, and I didn't know how to really express that. And so therefore I started abusing what was right in front of me and just started drinking to the point of um, really alcohol psychosis, which is where your body and your brain is so saturated that you kind of start hearing things, and you start hearing voices and people telling you these different things. And it got really scary, and it got really scary for those who were watching me. And I tried to hold jobs, and that wasn't working. Nobody knew how to, or what was going on, or how to really even ask, what's up? Like, what are you going through? Or how can we help? It was just, it was just more of here, have a cocktail. That always makes everything better, which is, you know, what we do. And there's nothing wrong with that in particular. It's more of the space that I was in. So I ended up having an accident, and that was not the first time that I had been pulled over or gotten arrested, and went to jail. Looked at my life, and I was like, obviously there's two choices. I can continue on, or I can really start to be like, what the nonsense am I doing? So it turned out that I ended up getting sober. Actually, August 6th was my 7 year sobriety
Oh,
date.
that's awesome.
So
Congratulations.
thank you. Thank you. And it was one of those where I did go to meetings for about 6 months, and that was helpful. It was a nice support group at the beginning of my journey. And then I really found I had always been into more physical fitness. And um, so I started running, and then I started doing yoga. And that got me to the point of, well, how can I really help people? Because I know that I felt like more people were in this situation where in my opinion, don't feel like the alcohol was the problem. It was simply what I used, and unfortunately, I used it to the point of being very detrimental. It's the underlying issue of, you know, things that happened in your past, and I didn't deal with my mother's death, and there was grief, and just the whole general capacity of moving through life, and when we don't express our emotions, they get shoved down, and then we get scared to express them and really have to find a way. And some of that is alcohol or drugs or shopping or sex or the whole gamut. um so I was looking to really find a way to help people, and there was a master's program in health and wellness coaching that connected the mind and body. And so I ended up doing that, and then I got into the emotional aspect and really started noticing through those who were coming to me, clients and friends, and that we we like to give, and we like to have people like us, and we like to offer ourselves, and yet we don't really, sometimes we're not strong enough, we don't build ourselves up. And I don't mean it and build ourselves up as like, I'm so good, or like I'm the best, but we don't give ourselves a chance to really come into ourselves and be strong before we give to others. And so therefore everything that we give perhaps is not reciprocated, which is fine, but we have to find another way to do that. And so we have to, when you mentioned self-care, um, and while that is wonderful, it has become synonymous with more things that are time consuming and things that are, mani pedis, and more of the, how do I say it?
Yeah, it's kind of it's I we hear it all the time. Self-care, self-care, self-care. It hasn't gone away. If anything, it's probably, in this somewhat post-COVID situation, we've heard a lot about it, but I think it brings to mind this idea of needing a lot of time to go to a spa or to, get a yoga studio membership or things, especially things that probably those like me that are caregiving for a child or a loved one that also works, also that seems kind of unreachable. And so, it's sort of dismissed like this is self care. I don't have time for it. It's not. But really, on a deeper level, that's not really what it's about at all, is it?
it's really prioritizing yourself, and self-care in a material way is more, um how can I use the foods that I'm eating to nourish me so that I'm able to have energy, and have the space, the mental bandwidth, the expansion of what is going on in my environment. How can I use food to actually nourish me versus emotional eating where I'm just looking for something to fill the void? And it's, again, it has nothing really to do about, whether you're eating potato chips or pizza or ice cream or anything like that. It's more about the why. So if you want ice cream, have some ice cream. Look at it when it, if it goes to, uh, you know, perhaps a half gallon, maybe we can look at that and say, hey, you know, is this what is really, is this my self care? Is this what is giving me what I need at this moment? or is this something else? Again, yes, with prioritizing, it doesn't have to be, okay, I got to drive to the studio. I got to take an hour for whether it's a strength training or yoga. It's movement. It's finding whatever you can do. Um, you can sit on a chair while Alex is coloring, for instance. You can sit at the computer and simply, do some gentle twists, some arm raises, some across, reaching for opposite shoulder blades. You can stand up, lifting, simply like lifting the knees to hip height. There's nothing like that says I have to, do an hour of vigorous cardio to get what I need. If you're able to, going for a walk with whomever you're caretaking, if they are able to, around the block, around the living room, uh, you know, things of that nature where it's more of putting yourself first and really saying, this is what I need. And that's the thing. Your needs have to be met first in order for you to be able to give better or give to whomever you're giving to.
But you talk about priorities, so let's dig into that. What can we do? How can we better prioritize ourselves, and why should we?
Oftentimes women take it on themselves. They'll take everything on themselves. So it's get up, it's, breakfast, bath, get off to school, da 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 da. Then you have to work. Then you get to come home, and then you get to cook dinner again, and then the whole gamut. So where do you need support so that you are able to find even 10 minutes for yourself? And then the wheels turn, well, I feel so guilty, and oh my gosh, I should have known better, or they're not going to be okay. And really being able to release some of that guilt, because whatever happens, you've already you've already been through, like, you've already come this far. 10 minutes is not going to 10 minutes for
Mm.
yourself is not going to be a catastrophe, and it's going to give you the time and the chance to really kind of release all of that other time that you've been giving to other people. Why it is important is because when our needs are not met, then again, we shove our emotions down, we become resentful, we get frustrated, we get irritated. Then it projects onto whomever we are around. It projects into our text messages, our emails. It projects onto perhaps the person that you're caregiving for, and not in such a way that it's like, but if they feel that energy, then they're going to react. If even if you're in a group of adults, or the energy that you're giving off, if you're frustrated because you're not getting what you need, is going to affect the whole entire group. If you believe that since your child had a brain tumor, that they are now and forever disabled, and they are unable to do certain things, and therefore the way that you act is in the belief that, okay, like, now I have to coddle them, I have to, really protect them, I have to make sure they're okay, versus giving the child some or adult, or whomever, has, whomever the survivor is, giving them the autonomy to be like, oh my gosh, okay, like, he can do things, or she can do things, they can, if given the chance. But if my belief is that they can't, then I will hold them back, and I will limit them and myself, because I don't think that this thing is possible. So if we believe that, then we have to turn it around and say, okay, like, I know it's difficult. It's, that they had it. We have now survived it. Now, how do we learn how to move forward in such a way that we're both learning, but we're not limiting the things that either one of us can do simply because we think it's not possible?
What are some tips you might have for kind of changing the thought process?
Thinking differently. It's a different perspective. So if someone tells me that my child is unable to do something, again, I have two choices. I can take them at face value and say, oh my gosh, he'll never be able to speak, or he'll never be able to hold a conversation. And I can tell everybody he's not going to be able to hold a conversation, or she, or, you know, they're not going to be able to hold a conversation, and don't try, and we're not going to learn any words, we're not going to go for it, we're not going to learn any letters, we're not going to do anything that involves them speaking. Or I can say, okay, perhaps they can't have a conversation as you and I would, but what can they do? Like, maybe they can learn letters, maybe they can learn the alphabet, maybe they can put, one letter and another letter together. Maybe they can say simple sentences like, eat, or bed, or sleep, or, no, or yes. Maybe they can do some of the things that, again, this person or my beliefs said no. So it's really deciding, okay, again, with walking, or with different foods. They don't like vegetables. Okay, well, what do they like? That is something that, again, they can enjoy. We can, that's actually going to nourish them, because food often helps the brain. I mean, we need our fats, and we need, like, not cutting, anyway, like, food can help. Like, it's been proven even uh, with behavioral problems, that when you give a nutritious, like, whole food diet, that behavioral problems start to dissipate. So, you know, how can we give them what they need? How can we allow them to thrive, versus shutting them off in a corner as, well, they have this, they survived, that's awesome, but now we're just going to, like, protect them and huddle them in a little corner, and we're not going to allow them to do anything. Like, we're not going to allow them to live, which in essence is not allowing us to live. We're not going to take them to Disney World because, they freak out. Well, so what? All kids freak out. Like, take them on a ride. Like, give them a chance. Maybe they love, Goofy, or maybe they like really resonate with something that if we don't give them the opportunity, we don't give ourselves the opportunity, then we'll never know.
How do we keep working on our mindsets? How do we find ways to kind of prioritize that?
When I say redefine thoughts and reconnect with the body and then regain power, the thoughts that we have are, I'm not perfect. So we redefine that. Okay, I might not be perfect, yet what am I? Like, I'm beautiful, I'm loyal, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm something that really resonates with you, so that perfection isn't what the focus is. And again, it takes, because those thoughts are going to come into your head 1,000 times. So you're 1,000 times every time you say, I'm not perfect, but I'm beautiful. Or, and I, I'm a hard worker. I don't know, a great 5K runner. I'm, whatever it means. Then reconnecting with the body. When you say you're not perfect, we tense up, we contract, we get smaller. Well, I'm not perfect, and so here I am, and I can't give anything to the world. I'm not perfect, but I'm beautiful. So we expand into, what does the body do when you say I'm beautiful? oh my gosh, like I'm beautiful, and I have something to give. And whether it's simply, the love that I have for this person or this life, whatever that is, I have something to give. And so we really start to expand, and then we can regain the power that we have given to the disease, to, the guilt, all of our power. If we give it to guilt, if we give it to shame, if we give it to anger, if we give it to whom another person, then we lose what we're here for. And that's not fair to us. It's not fair to you as the caregiver.
It's just, I think, also kind of really monitoring your reactions to things, would you say? And just kind of like catching the thought, the negative thought, and saying, wait a minute, I'm having a negative thought. How do I turn this around? Or what can I do to, they're not going to go away, but how can I sort of treat it and move on?
And they're not meant to go away. Our thoughts are valid, our feelings are valid. And when we do have that, it is that awareness. Most people aren't even aware of, I mean, I don't even think we're aware of, a quarter of, or maybe even less of what we actually think. So it is that awareness of what am I thinking. And even with the body, like if the if the shoulders are hurting, or if the neck is hurting, or your head is hurting, or even your hips, really kind of, there's a there's an alignment, we'll say, of if your shoulders hurt, it's kind of like you're carrying the weight of the world. If your neck hurts, well, that's where your throat is. And so this is our communication. So what are we not saying? How are we not speaking our truth? If our head hurts, if we have headaches, I mean, it sounds simple, but are we, one, are we dehydrated? Two, are we thinking these things to where our literal bandwidth is like making our head hurt? Or, are we, with our eyes, are we not seeing the vision of, are we stuck? They say stay in the present, of course, but are we stuck in the present so that we're not getting that, like, ooh, like what's out there? Oh my gosh, if this isn't available, then perhaps this is. We live in these little, in our own little world, but there's a whole globe out there. I mean, how many, different people in different areas and states and countries, like, oh my gosh, it can be incredible. Um, so, and the hips, it all means something. So really, again, becoming aware of that and moving back to the thoughts. Okay, if my hips are hurting, what am I thinking that is causing, a tightness in my hips? If we want something, and we think we can't have it for whatever reason, like we want our kid to go to school, right? And we think we can't have it. Well, the hip area is the wants and desires. It's like it's equated to our wants and desires. So if we want something and we don't allow ourselves to have it, then that area starts to become closed. Does that make sense? Same thing, um, again, with the neck and the shoulders. I mean, this whole area, if we're not speaking our truth, we we're tensing up. We're not giving ourselves a chance. So it's it's becoming aware of not only how you're feeling, what you're thinking, and then again, yeah, turning it around. Like,
My shoulders are a hot mess, so I must not be speaking my truth.
yeah, and you're carrying a lot. Now, and when I say that, it's not like you're literally carrying a backpack, but you're carrying the weight of the world. You in particular, and I'll use you as an example just because and if this is okay, you're carrying trying to work with yourself. You're carrying Alex. You're carrying driving up to the doctors, the schedule for medication, schools, health insurance, da 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 da. That is like, that's a lot of weight that is on you. So of course your shoulders are going to take the brunt of it. So how can we learn, okay, my shoulders are a hot mess. Now, yes, we can physically work them out, but also what can I release? Okay, can I release health insurance for just one day? Can I release, you know, can I release school for one day? Start with a day, and start with an hour. I don't know. Start with 5 minutes. Like, can I release that? And as it, comes back into the mind, but I'm available for an iced latte, like the thought of one, or I'm available for, like, oh, like what are, I don't know, what good book am I going to read? Or I'm available for, wow, I think I need some flowers in here. Yeah, like I'm available for, and then that focus goes to that. And then health insurance for, like I said, 5 minutes a day is like, okay, we'll release.
Well, is there anything that we didn't touch on that you'd like to add, or any other thoughts?
I think it's really truly finding out what you want, like you said, what your wants are, and not trying to justify them, like what they actually are. Like, I want a brand new car. Oh, I can't have a brand new car because whatever. No, I want a brand new car.
Well,
Really,
that's the thing. Like, I think I'm guilty of this, so I'm probably pretty sure that other people in my situation are. Oh, I want to get this, or let's use the brand new car, or I want to go learn something new. But I can't because I don't have the money, because we're all financially tasked. I don't have the time. I don't have somebody to take care of things. So you start thinking, you're in your head telling yourself no, 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 no.
completely, because we'll fight for our limitations instead of fighting for the possibilities.
Yeah, why
So
is that?
that's where the beliefs come from. So I'll use another client that I had. She just opened a yoga studio, and I'll make this quick. She just opened a yoga studio. She's got a billion tasks. She tries to write it down, put it on a calendar, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, I can't get my tasks done. I just, move paper from here to here." And I say, "Okay, well, you know, what would happen?" And a couple of sessions before, we went through her beliefs, and her beliefs were words have power, right? Her mom told her when she was younger never to get her hopes up, never to expect anything, because because she'll be disappointed. So, if you look at that example, the reason she procrastinates is because she believes that words are power, and what her mom told her is, don't get your hopes up because you'll be disappointed. So, if she doesn't do the things that she needs to do for her yoga studio, she doesn't expect anything, she won't be disappointed. That's still holding her back from doing the things that she does. The same thing with wants. My wants and desires are important. If I want 1,000 thread sheets on my bed that cost, I don't know, 40 or $60, or whatever, yeah, like, that's what I want. That's going to make me feel good. And when I feel good, then I can move better. I can move better through life. I can start thriving in life. And obviously 1,000 thread sheets aren't, the be all end all, but it's that start. It's saying my wants and desires are important, and I'm going to find a way to get them. Giving yourself limitless possibilities. It might not seem real. It might not seem probable, but is it possible? Always ask, is it possible? Anything is possible.
Crystal is has a great Instagram account. Tell us what your Instagram, how they can find you on Instagram.
Crystal Coach One. I would love follows and
Yeah.
feedback. I love feedback.
And Crystal also does one-on-one life coaching, and is one of the many inspiring people I follow on Instagram. So it's worth a follow for sure. And we really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me and the brain tumor community and sharing your insights. It's really helpful.
Thank you for having me. I hope this was helpful, and any questions, please feel free. I mean, I'm DMs are open and all that good stuff. I have every form of way to contact me. So email, phone, whatever. If there's any questions or um, anybody, has any more concerns or anything, like, please get in touch.